Hello and welcome to Charch Chat. I am Paul Charchian from LeagueSafe.com. Thanks for joining us here at Open Sports. Today, it's a sneak attack passing game style. We'll talk about quarterbacks and receivers that you can put in your lineup that might be sneaky plays this week. We begin at the quarterback position. Matt Ryan goes up against Green Bay. Now, Ryan and the Falcons have had a lot of trouble on the road, and this is a road game. He has no touchdown passes on the road. However, this may be a good opportunity for him. Team will probably be playing from behind, or maybe even a closer game than we think, but passing is going to be something you're going to need to do regularly in this game. But most importantly, Green Bay is going to be without their shutdown cornerback, Al Harris. He's out for sure, and there's a good chance that their starting safety, Atari Bigby, also going to be out for this game. This is a secondary that's ready to be abused, and, you know, if you're the Falcons, why not air it out a few times? Matt Ryan's got the big, long arm. I would not be at all surprised to see one long touchdown come out of this. Roddy White's also a nice sneaky play that you could use. I like Matt Ryan if you're in a tough situation, the bye week, whatever. You could pick him up, play him against a banged-up secondary, and hope for one long touchdown. Okay, next, go to Kyle Orton going up against Detroit. Now, the firing of Matt Millen will not necessarily help the Detroit secondary, although they could certainly use the help. However, they've really struggled. Now, they let Matt Ryan look good in his first ever start. They allowed big games to Aaron Rodgers and JT O'Sullivan already. So far, the Lions secondary might be the worst in the NFL. I mean, the guys we're talking about, Ryan and Rodgers and O'Sullivan, they had combined for 6 NFL starts, and the Lions are total. And the Lions are one of the worst, already ranked as one of the worst secondaries. So, while Orton's not great, he's at least got a lot more game experience than those guys do, and ought to be able to get a touchdown or two in this game. All right, Gus Frerotte is the next one, Monday night against the Saints. Saints secondary's been obviously terrible. They've allowed a touchdown and no fewer than 220 yards passing in every game this year, and the Vikings could very well be playing catch-up, and Ferrotte's going to have to throw through a lot of this game. There's a very real scenario that could happen. So, Gus Frerotte, third quarterback for sneak attack passing game style. Now let's go to some of the receivers. Antonio Bryant goes up against Denver, and it's not that I love Antonio Bryant. In fact, I think he's basically a lousy receiver who's, you know, I'm surprised he's even in the league at this point, really. But what I do like about Antonio Bryant this week is his opponent, the Denver Broncos. They rank 31st against the pass. They've allowed the fourth most passing touchdowns. So, you know, you roll all those things together, and Joey Galloway remaining out, the passing game almost has to go through Antonio Bryant. They don't have too many other guys to even as an option. So, Antonio Bryant, somebody you could consider. Here's a deep sleeper for you. Greg Camarillo against the Chargers and their bottom-ranked pass defense. Camarillo leads all Dolphin receivers in receptions, yards, and, you know, he got the starting job a couple of weeks ago. Put up decent numbers, 50 and 60 yards. So, you know, Camarillo is somebody involved enough in the passing game to take advantage of a very bad defense. Next, Brandon Lloyd going up against Detroit. Now, saying you're the leading receiver for the Bears is not that big a deal. You and I could probably be the leading receiver for the Bears at this point, but he's got a great matchup with Detroit. I mentioned Kyle Orton and all the things that work against that Detroit secondary. They are bad, and, you know, Lloyd is as good as they got in Chicago, so what the heck. Hopefully you don't have to go Kyle Orton and Brandon Lloyd, although I mentioned both, but that's kind of interesting hookup right there. Okay, one last guy I want to mention. We're getting pretty long here, but that's okay. Anthony Fasano, tight end. Great matchup this week against the Chargers. Here's what I want to mention. Chargers have allowed the most scores, yards, and touchdowns to the tight end position of any team in the league. And Fasano happens to lead the Dolphins in all those same things. Receiving yards, touchdowns. I mean, Fasano's as active as anybody on that Dolphin roster. Mentioned Camarillo, who I like as well here, but don't forget the tight end Anthony Fasano. And you know what? You could even make a case for the other tight end, David Martin, who's been surprisingly involved with 8 receptions already this year. So, you know, even he could be somebody you could consider, because the Chargers that bad against opposing tight ends. 5 touchdowns allowed to opposing tight ends already. That's an astounding stat at this short stage of the year. A lot of teams don't give up 5 touchdowns to tight ends in a season. Chargers have done it in 4 games. So there you go. Sneak attack, passing game style. Thanks for watching Charch Chat here at Open Sports.
So you think you can tackle a pro? There's only one way to find out. Click on fantasy at opensports.com.